My best friend's startup stole my entire business idea. 6 months later, he begged me for a job. This morning, my phone blew up with 48 missed calls. I never thought a single idea would destroy everything. I'm Jake Rodriguez, 29, and this is how my best friend since college, Marcus Chun, tried to erase me from existence. We've been coding partners, startup dreamers, late-night hackathons, shared pizza, the kind of friendship where we finished each other's tech sentences. Until the day he decided to finish my entire business plan instead. The blockchain platform was my baby. 2 years of research, countless sleepless nights, innovative encryption that could revolutionize small business transactions. Marcus had been my sounding board, my trusted confidant. Our last collaborative meeting was at our favorite coffee shop. I was walking him through the final code iterations, explaining nuanced technical details, showing him the breakthrough that would make our startup worth millions. 3 weeks later, I discovered Marcus had incorporated his own company, using my exact algorithm, my research, my breakthrough. The tech community whispered, investors circled, and I watched my life's work become someone else's success story. When I confronted him, his response was chillingly casual. In tech, ideas are fluid, he said, not even looking up from his MacBook. Consider this a lesson in competitive innovation. Some stories don't end where they're supposed to. Some stories are just beginning. Revenge is a science. And I was about to become its most precise practitioner. The tech world is smaller than most people realize. Connections are everything. And I was about to turn every single one of Marcus's connections into a potential liability. My first move was quiet, systematic. I began documenting everything. Every email, every conference pitch, every single piece of communication that could prove the timeline of my innovation. An old college friend, Rachel, now worked in tech journalism. Off the record, I told her during a carefully orchestrated coffee meeting. Each word calculated. Each piece of information precisely placed. The blockchain research became my obsession. Raw datasets, methodology notes, unpublished drafts. Digital footprints are never completely erased. I discovered a pattern. Marcus had been strategically positioning himself for months. Subtle manipulations, carefully placed conversations. The kind of tech maneuvering that would make a corporate strategist proud. My startup network became an unexpected intelligence gathering team. Whispers, careful observations. The kind of information sharing that happens in the shadows of tech conferences. The most interesting discovery came from an old email chain. Marcus had been negotiating with multiple venture capital firms, trying to position my work as his breakthrough. Before the conference, before the publication, colleagues who had once praised him started to notice something was off. Subtle questions, careful investigations. The perfectly crafted image was beginning to crack. I wasn't doing anything dramatic. I was simply letting the truth gather momentum. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true exposure comes from patience. Marcus thought he was running a perfect tech con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The landmines were set. All I needed was to watch them detonate. The most dangerous weapon isn't a knife. It's the truth, meticulously sharpened. Over the next 3 months, I became a ghost in the tech world. Marcus continued his victory lap, completely unaware that I was dismantling his carefully constructed lie, piece by careful piece. My first strategic move involved his recent startup pitch. Tech conferences love due diligence, and details were my specialty. I reached out to Elena Wang, a renowned venture capital partner known for her ruthless investigation of potential investments. Confidentially, I told her during a carefully planned video call. Casual, calculated, nothing direct. The research records became my obsession. Raw data, methodology logs, publication trails. Marcus had been clever, but not clever enough. I discovered inconsistencies that would make most tech ethics committees raise an eyebrow. Subtle data manipulations, questionable citation practices. The kind of technological misconduct that lives in the gray areas of innovation. My network of young developers and tech researchers became an unexpected intelligence gathering team. Quiet conversations. Strategic inquiries. The kind of information collection that would make a corporate investigator proud. The pitch deck itself was a masterpiece of technological fraud. Carefully selected data points. Strategically omitted contradictory findings. The type of manipulation that can destroy careers if exposed. I began building a comprehensive dossier. Not just of his theft, but of a pattern of technological misconduct that went far deeper than a single stolen blockchain concept. The most interesting discovery came from his previous publications. A trail of small inconsistencies. Potential data fabrications. The kind of tech sins that could unravel an entire career. Each piece of information was another nail in his professional coffin. My technical background became my secret weapon. Late nights weren't suspicious. Detailed research wasn't out of character. I used every professional skill I'd ever developed: data analysis, forensic research investigation, strategic planning. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who roars. It's the one who watches. Who waits. Who plans. Marcus thought he was running a perfect tech con. He had no idea I was writing the script to his own destruction. By the time I was done, he would lose everything. Not just his current startup. Not just his professional reputation. But his entire carefully constructed technological facade. This was going to be a masterpiece of technological exposure. And I was just getting started. Precision is an art form. In tech warfare, it becomes a devastating weapon. The first crack in Marcus's perfect narrative came during the annual Tech Innovate conference. I'd been quietly preparing for months, gathering every single piece of evidence with the precision of a surgical instrument. The conference hall was my chosen battlefield. Marcus arrived confident, his custom-tailored startup hoodie a shield of perceived technological superiority. He had no idea the walls were about to come crashing down. I presented the evidence systematically. Overlapping data points. Fabricated research methodologies. Stolen blockchain concepts. Each slide was another nail in his carefully constructed tech coffin. Elena Wang, the venture capital expert I'd strategically consulted, was in the audience. Her presence was my silent weapon. Each raised eyebrow was another blow to Marcus's credibility. These methodological inconsistencies, I said quietly, pointing to a series of suspicious research slides, aren't just questionable. They're a fundamental breach of technological ethics. The tech community watched in stunned silence. The international research database I'd been quietly compiling told a story Marcus never intended to be told. Overlapping research findings. Strategically hidden data discrepancies. A pattern of technological theft that went far beyond my single project. Marcus tried to interrupt. To spin a narrative. But the evidence was overwhelming. Colleagues who had once praised his innovative approach were now looking at him differently. Whispers. Careful glances. The perfect startup image was crumbling in real time. I hadn't done anything dramatic. I'd simply let the truth speak for itself. Some people believe in confrontation. I believe in letting evidence do the heavy lifting. Marcus thought he was running a perfect tech con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The first domino had fallen. And I was just getting started. Tech reputations are like spider webs, delicate, interconnected, and easily destroyed. Marcus's carefully constructed professional network began to disintegrate faster than he could manage damage control. The tech industry's Slack channels, LinkedIn networks, and professional forums became a battlefield of truth. Colleagues who had initially supported his innovative startup started asking uncomfortable questions. The kind of questions that don't have easy answers. My mentor from my previous startup became my unexpected strategist. I always thought something was off, he confided during a carefully arranged coffee meeting. His observations were like precision tools, cutting through Marcus's carefully constructed facade. The venture capital funding Marcus had been pursuing started evaporating. Emails became shorter. Meetings were cancelled. Professional relationships he'd spent years building were disappearing overnight. Tech social media became a minefield. Screenshots of unethical communications. Detailed evidence of data manipulation. The perfectly curated professional profile was crumbling in real time. Industry networks began to see the truth. The late-night strategy sessions. The hushed conversations. The pieces started falling into place. Marcus's own colleagues were the first to truly break ranks. Whispered conversations at industry events. Careful sharing of discovered inconsistencies. Their protective shield was crumbling. I didn't do anything dramatic. I simply let the truth do the heavy lifting. Professional networks began to collapse. Tech associates who had once praised his innovative approach were now asking hard questions. Investigations were launched. Reputations were at stake. The most dangerous strategist isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true exposure comes from patience. Marcus thought he was running a perfect tech con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The professional web was unraveling. And I was watching it come apart, thread by careful thread. Some professional careers end with a whisper. Mine ended with a calculated storm. The formal investigation was nothing short of a strategic masterpiece. I didn't just want to expose Marcus. I wanted to dismantle everything he had built. My evidence was comprehensive. Corporate espionage. Systematic technological misconduct. Repeated ethical violations. The kind of detailed investigation that would make a tech ethics board weep with professional satisfaction. His legal team tried every trick. Character assassination. Claims of professional rivalry. Attempts to paint me as a bitter ex-friend trying to destroy his success. I let the documents speak for themselves. Stolen blockchain algorithms. Unauthorized data manipulation. Breach of intellectual property. Fabricated research credentials. Each piece of evidence was another nail in his professional coffin. Elena Wang, my contact from venture capital, became my primary witness. Her reputation for technological integrity was beyond reproach. Her analysis of my compiled evidence was devastating. The tech industry's Professional Standards Board's decision was unanimous. Not only would Marcus face complete professional discreditation, but he would be barred from future tech contracts. The professional network he'd spent years building would be utterly destroyed. His professional partnerships collapsed. Ongoing project contracts disappeared. Future business opportunities were cancelled. The technological empire he thought he was building crumbled in real time. His own colleagues began providing additional testimony. Those hushed conversations, those moments of doubt, they became the final weapon in his destruction. I didn't seek revenge out of anger. I sought justice out of principle. The innovative blockchain platform he tried to steal, it would now be properly attributed. Secured for its original creator. Some people believe in dramatic confrontations. I believed in letting truth do the heavy lifting. Marcus lost everything. His reputation. His career. His professional standing. His carefully constructed technological life. And I walked away with something far more valuable. Integrity. And a promise kept to technological innovation. Some stories end. Some lessons continue. 3 years after the professional investigation, life looked completely different. My reputation in the tech world was not just restored, it was elevated. The industry had changed. Not just because of my specific case, but because of the conversations it sparked about technological ethics. About the importance of giving credit where it's due. I'd learned something profound about professional pursuit. About justice. About the kind of integrity that doesn't come from accolades, but from principle. Marcus disappeared from tech circles. No dramatic exit. Just a slow fade into professional irrelevance. His attempts to rebuild his career were continually undermined by the comprehensive documentation of his misconduct. My startup began receiving prestigious research grants. The tech community that had once been silent was now speaking up about innovation ethics. The most interesting outcome wasn't my personal vindication. It was the systemic change my case had triggered. Tech institutions started implementing more rigorous check and balance systems. Plagiarism detection became more sophisticated. The technological world was becoming more transparent. I didn't feel victorious. I felt resolved. Some believe revenge is about making someone suffer. I learned it's about protecting technological integrity. About showing your true character when everything is falling apart. The phone calls from Marcus eventually stopped. The desperate attempts to explain. to manipulate, to reconnect. I'd built something he could never touch. A life of scientific integrity. A technological legacy based on truth. Every challenge became an opportunity. Every setback, a lesson. The day I received the Young Innovator Award for my blockchain research, I thought about Marcus. Not with anger. Not with satisfaction. Just with a clear understanding that truth always finds its way. Some people are defined by their worst moments. Others are defined by how they rise above them. I chose to rise.